Thank you everybody for coming on a super hot night. I know there's a million end of years things happening, so thank you all for coming. We don't have a ton. Please get food. There is desserts and pizza and water. Enjoy. Take it all. All right. Let's start with the approval of the minutes.
Our last meeting was held on March 20th, 2024. There we approved the minutes for the January meeting. Our guest speaker was Linda Brunetti from the Autism Project. The board spoke about positivity showcase, friendly arts and crafts, CPR first aid classes, inclusion committee meetings, coloring updates, we had a special education director's update, open forum, and then we ended the meeting. You can look at the full notes and video playback on Smithfield Public Schools District website or SSELAC School Google website.
Perfect. Good. All right, we have a presentation tonight by Kerri Cassino. She is a mom advocate. She's with SPARE, she's with the ARC, everything, literally. She has connections to all over the state. Yeah, if you want to sit or stand over here, totally up to you. Okay.
So welcome, everybody. Thank you for letting me here tonight to present. So my name is Kerri Cassino. I'm a special needs parent to my daughter, Ava, who's 14. She has autism, a few other things, developmental disabilities, SIV, self-injurious behavior, and a lot of ADHD with depression, anxiety. So we got a mixed bag. And we've experienced a lot of ups and downs, a lot of ebbs and flows as well with a journey that was just, never paved with light. We just walked, we just walked into the darkness, and, who knows what was going to happen. We didn't know if, what treatments were going to be intervened, and my daughter was basically institutionalized at Bradley and other places. So I wanted to present Rhode Island Lend. So Rhode Island Lend is leadership education with neurodevelopment and developmental disabilities. It is a program run by Lifespan Hospital, and I will be a Lend graduate on Friday. And this is my leadership project. My leadership project is to do care for the caregiver. We need to be a village. We need to make sure everybody's taking care of themselves, has a way to vent, get a way to speak to our legislators, learn how to testify for a bill at the House, or just even visit the State House and make your way around it. We're very lucky to be in Rhode Island, where, we drive 40 minutes. It is traffic, I get it, but, the state of Washington, you're driving 6 hours to meet your legislator. So, we have it pretty lucky here with that in mind. But my daughter's experience has just given me a passion to help others to see a possibility to an unknown journey. We wanted to make sure that we connected caregivers with the LAC, because this is where the special needs parents are meeting. So we want to just, create a bond. We can do them with Zooms. We're going to meet a parent where they're at, on the phone, breakout groups. Michelle was supposed to be with me tonight. However, she has plantar fasciitis out of the blue, and she took her meds and fell asleep. So, but you will meet her. It's a small group. The ARC of Rhode Island is hosting this, and the ARC of Rhode Island is another way that we can, have a lot of resources presented. We just had a individual kind of topic, sexuality with IDD, and we got a lot of good feedback from that. We recorded it, and we're actually going to have an updated session on it. They're also going to be doing a resource fair with a lot of resources and just connecting everybody as a community. So with the SSELAC caregiver support, I just want to make sure, everybody's together, or, we're a community. And I want to, sorry, I'm plumbing up here, but, I just want to make sure that we can all connect, and what better way than with our SSELACs. So if you have any questions on what I just went over as a topic, and I should mention, I'm also part of a parent-led group called SPEAR. It's Special Education Advocacy and Reform. We were working with the ombudsman bill, that's now the FIEP bill. And so we're tracking that, and, you know, we've had some good feedback on it. Has anybody heard of the FIEP program?
Yes.
Facilitate IEPs, okay. So we've had a lot of good feedback. I just went to a training today for stakeholders. And, you know, they want to come out to the districts and they want to be here working with everybody. So, you know, have a more team building experience with our meetings. And then let's see, RAMP, it's Real Access motivates progress. Tina Gannett, I don't know if anybody knows her from RAMP.
Yeah,
She has the best shoe collection in town, so, so that's,
Some of our school things, she had we had a grant for her Tina's tables and Gilmore Park. Yeah.
excellent, yeah, that's right. That's right. So we're getting one in Johnston as well, so Tina's table, so, if anybody has information on that, I can help. I'm one of the, a recent board member, I'm part-time. And, let's see. And then I describe myself as a parent advocate, so. So does anybody have any questions?
I guess the only question I have is how can we help you?
Well, we're just looking to, you know, have participants, in the program and, you know, belong to a group and, you know, branch out with, resources, whatever the group wants. You know, you want more, one of our things is learning just to build in time for you in the day. So there's a challenge that we have in one of our groups. It's called Do Something Different in Your Day. So it's scientifically proven that if you do everything and it's a mundane, you know, everything's the same, changing one thing up in your day can help spark more creativity and positivity in your lives. Also, we do the 10, 10, and 10, which is exercise in the morning, exercise in the evening, and then, you know, stretch, do yoga, and you know, you can change it up, but there's 30 minutes that you just gotta exercise if that's a goal that you have in mind. Eating right, the importance of, you know, making sure that you're choosing healthy meals. You know, we don't, you know, I know we have pizza tonight, but you know, I know if we had McDonald's every day, like it'd just be like, oh, you know, like just, you know, planning good care tips into your daily life and routine. And then we have, so it's called a to-done list. So basically, we're all very busy. If we make a to-do list and we don't get to everything, write what you did today. And I bet you that list is quite long. So, you know, just influence to, you know, to make your day better. And then we're gonna get our needs from the group. What do you guys want? What do you want us to help you with? So we want to create like a concierge service to help us be better as a community.
Kerri and I had met, and I met Michelle too, and we were talking about how, you know, as things that we've done in Smithfield, a lot of other towns haven't been able to do yet, like the transportation forum, kind of getting the fire department involved with the CPR classes and stuff, and just all of the social media and stuff that we have going on. So just kind of assisting and kind of meeting with the other SELACs and getting kind of everybody together to make also this group bigger, to, you know, kind of have other connections outside of Smithfield with other families and see, you know, what they're going through or how they're kind of handling situations that you may feel somebody in Smithfield, well, it's a different school district, you know, there might be a lot of similarities in the situation itself. So just kind of be able to bounce off of other people. And obviously everybody loved our color run, but I was like, we can't do that in every town. But yeah, we had talked about that stuff and just making sure that Smithfield was a part of the care for caregivers and, because you have 5 or 6 other SELACs in it already, right?
Yes, we have, so Johnston, and we have Tiverton, we have North Providence and Central Falls, and there's a couple more. We had reached out to Warwick and that way, and we know that this is the most busiest time for school districts right now, so. So we're really trying to, you know, get this big lift, you know, by the time we got the grant and all that stuff, and oh, by the way, it's also granted from the DD Council. They want this to really help with transition and, you know, anything that you need help with. We wanna band together, and I was at the FIEP meeting today for stakeholders and met a lot of SELAC chairs, and they are definitely wanting to do more with SELACs getting together, you know, and not just by Ripon, you know, they can be invited, but we want to, you know, we want a good morale with it, with other
And
cities.
one of the other connections that Kerri was able to get us is, so for the sensory friendly times that we do with the library, they'll be changing next year. I'm not doing it on Saturday mornings anymore. It doesn't seem to work for most people. So it's gonna be Monday afternoons, like right after school. Figure it like can help transition some kids if they need that. But she was able to give me a contact to reach out to that, will hopefully be able to actually provide us sensory stuff. Specifically for that. I mean, we'll be able to use at other events too, but they'll connect with the library specifically and see how they can assist the library to help our event.
That's the Audubon.
Yeah.
So, and they're
That's
gonna
great.
be in the Johnston one, and I can, you know, anybody's welcome, we can share and then get the grant for you guys as well, because I feel like these grants are earmarked and they need to be used, and if they don't get used, they're done, you know, and these are just wasteful things, so. And with that grant that the Audubon has, they were able, my daughter's in a group home, so they were able to do some of the group homes as well. So if any parents have anybody in a group home, we got them at, let's see, Exeter House, that's where my daughter lives, and they loved it. So, and it's a free, you know, it's free, and it's teaching kids about nature. They love to get messy and they love all that stuff, so it worked out well. And I don't know if anybody knows, has anybody been to the Impossible Dream?
Yes.
Okay, so the Impossible Dream is doing a new garden kind of theme this year, and she's really trying to kick that off. Also with the Impossible Dream, they also have a dream for children that live in Rhode Island under the age of 18. I believe it's 18, but Diane Penza will send you a form to complete. And you can make a wish for your child. So if your child says, you know, I want to play softball, or I like to go to the amusement parks, or maybe you want a YMCA membership for your family, you write down a wish list that your child is, and they, at that time.
No.
Oh, okay. So we can check that. Well, that's okay. With more information, no, I can send that to you guys on Diane Penza. She is the director at Impossible Dream, and they do put out a lot of functions.
Share it out.
Yeah, because, you know, this is amazing. I know families got clothes for school. They got a YMCA family membership for their family. And mom got a pink sweater. If there's siblings, they usually include toys, or, you know, they'll say to the child, what do you want to get your brother and sister? You know, what do you want to get them? And she'll purchase them or give them the money. And then right now, the insecurity with food, she does give a food gift card in there too, you know, so it's kind of, you know, a nice little package, so. Yeah, but we have tons of resources, so, and I want to share them. I want them on like a Google Doc so everybody can see them and access them, and. You know.
I can text Kerri about anything and she'll be like, here's the list.
We had to weed through a lot of those with my own daughter, so it's like, I decided that that's what we need, you know, big master list and connect with everybody, you know. I'm just excited to do this, and I hope you guys are too, and we'd love to get some groups going. We can meet in the community, we can go to the park, we can go to the beach, you know, it's whatever you as a group want. And we do have one-to-one sessions that we can break out in person or the phone, Zoom for 30 minutes. If a parent says, you know, I just kind of want to talk to you by myself, and this is what I want, and we can help you achieve, you know, we can make goal setting and things like that. So, and Kevin Nerney is the attorney for the state, and he's part of DD Council and wants this to really take off, so.
Anyone else? Thank
Thank you very much.
Lots of information, and, we're working with the resource list too, so we'll make sure to add all of the things you guys to it.
Yes, and we're having a resource fair. The Arc of Rhode Island is gonna put it on at the Impossible Dream.
Oh,
So
Great.
so I'll give you some details on that too.
Awesome.
Great. And then on to the positivity showcase.
We awarded 4 people within the district for March and April. It was Camille Sparks Griffin, occupational therapist district-wide, Cole Firth, 5th grade teacher at Pleasant View, were both from March, and Alicia Greco, a preschool teacher at La Perche, and Josh Loisel, paraprofessional at La Perche, who I guess share a classroom, they're a team, and we awarded them for April.
They got nominated together.
Yeah,
So
they were
like a
together.
team.
And then, we're presenting May and June in a couple of weeks. And, we're accepting nominations for 2024 and 2025 now.
So spread the word, since we have gone through our nominations. So,
So we do a positivity showcase. Anybody can nominate any staff member in the district for anything good. And we go out and we make handmade bags or buy candles or flowers, and we just surprise the teacher with the nomination just for, being awesome. Pretty much. It's like, anonymous, yeah. Teachers don't get all the awards they should.
and they
Yeah,
don't know. So we actually give them the nomination because it's anonymous, and we're like, oh no,
Yeah.
Yeah.
keep doing what you're doing.
Keep doing
Sometimes they-
that.
And then I know you've shared it, then we blast it like through social media so that everybody sees it and, just to keep getting that
It's
recognition.
like a ricochet of kindness. that
Yeah.
just goes around.
Exactly.
And, they get recognized by their coworkers and stuff, and it's people in town too. which is good.
Yep, and Channel 10 has their awards
Yeah.
as well, the Apple.
Yeah.
Yeah, the golden apple.
Thank you.
There you go. The next thing is the color run. So the color run this year was great. We had over 500 people register, which was more than 200 than last year. We had all different organizations. So it started with La Perche and ended with Pleasant View. So La Perche threw out yellow, Pleasant View threw out green. So that way we start and end with Smithfield. We had, it would go, La Perche was yellow, then we had Down syndrome awareness Rhode Island. Then we had the Autism Project, we had the police throwing blue out, which was, and then we had the Doug Flutie Foundation for Autism. And then we had, going around then, we had decoding dyslexia, we had pink, the color pink, we had purple, we had the ARC, we had all different organizations also in the field. We had Lightning McQueen car came, we had New Level, Extraordinary Kids, Solano Insurance. It was emceed by Premier Realty, Chris Whitten, who's a Smithfield parent as well. It was great. It was a great.
Yeah.
The
Youth
Building,
Council.
yeah, the Building Bridge, Smithfield Youth Council. Sorry, we had bubbles and chalk and face painting, and Teresa Pierpoli, who's a parent, did all the rocks in the trail with positive messages, because she goes around town and she spreads kind of those, so she did them personally for the color run. It was
And
awesome.
we left them there. So if anybody's walking that trail, we left all the rocks there.
A lot of people picked them up. Well, they were taking those rocks, yeah, but it was fun. It was a good day. We had a good weather.
Just huge.
Yeah, it was great. And then, we're already thinking about how to branch out. So I already, brainstorming some different ideas for next year, so.
And the town came in huge for us too. They like redid the trail. Because if you guys would have seen it a few days before, there were huge, like.
It was a swimming
divots.
pool.
It was,
Yeah,
we had to walk like,
Single
walk
file.
between 2 huge tunnels.
yeah, and then there was like a big, it looked like a pond in the middle. We were joking that we were gonna have to give you guys canoes to row through
There was
it.
gonna be a triathlon.
Yeah,
You
it
have
was
to roll-
crazy.
Have to run, walk,
But
and roll.
The Wednesday before, they came in and they leveled everything out, so the town was huge, that like in assisting to make sure it could happen, which was awesome.
The policemen are awesome.
The policemen were
They got so into it, everybody was covered in blue from head to toe.
Yes.
I think they made the observer. Well,
Yeah,
they did.
yeah,
He
he was the
double
page.
his thing throwing
Yeah.
at.
He was so excited. He was covered in blue.
It was fun.
And he was a lot of fun.
Um,
And a lot of good information was put out, I
Yeah.
feel like, and we had Texas Roadhouse there too. A lot of people all said they would like to come back too.
I know the Best Buddies, they said that they connected with so many people that didn't even know Best Buddies existed,
Yeah.
but they gave out all of their stuff.
Yeah,
They were like, so next year we're gonna be drinking a lot more.
yes.
Which was awesome to hear, obviously.
There's extra flyers from the Color Run and like seatbelt holders from the Autism Project and Doug Flutie.
Yeah.
But I have like stickers for the car.
Oh, perfect.
I
Yeah.
have
they're all-
magnets, so anybody needs the Autism Project from last meeting, there's packets in the back. So,
Yeah.
please take them. Yeah, please take them.
All right, CPR and first aid, we're having one last class. It's June 1st at 9 a.m. This will be the third one that we put on this year, and obviously the last one until the fall. Each one has had, the first one had almost 30 people at it, the last one had 15, and this one we have 16 people signed up for, so there's definitely a want for it. It's free, guys. You get a free card too. I'm not supposed to say that, but you do. You're given it at all the classes, so we will be posting about it. Right now, I just contacted everybody that had already said they wanted to be part of it. But they do CPR and first aid. So it is about 2.5 to 3 hours long. It is super long, but also it's all the information. Like I said, you get the card in the end. It is virtual. Like I'm saying, you don't get a physical card. It's a virtual card. You print it out if you want. That threw a lot of people, so I want to make sure I mention that.
Is it at the police station?
It's still at the police station, yeah. Right in the community room. Thankfully, we've been able to get that spot every time.
Are some of the high school kids able to get involved?
Yeah.
Because then
Um,
they could do swim.
So to the two girls over there, the Gwen and Olivia, Gwen founded the Ability Bridge. Do you want to talk about it? You can
Yeah,
tell her
sure.
about it, Rose?
So basically, it's a nonprofit organization to raise money for the special ed department here at Smithfield. So we do various fundraising events throughout the year to raise money.
She is finishing her freshman year here.
Wow.
So, we connect with her and she blasts it out through the high school and through her organization as well. So every time there's been, like, I wanna say, like at least 5 to 10 teenagers. and-
Big hit, everyone wants to do it. so.
Yeah. They're like the first ones to respond to my emails about it. They're like, yes, I'll be there. Yes, I'll be
A
there.
great group of
Okay, great.
high school and middle school kids. And
And it's not just females, it's males and females, so it's great.
Would any of the students want to try to do respite or pass for families? Because that's a
Yeah.
big need right now.
Definitely.
I think, working, because we're trying to do in Johnston, we're trying to make it so if parents, can't leave their kid or child at home, they can bring the child and you can have the high school students there with an activity or, just keeping an eye on the child to make it more family centered as well as
Definitely.
as a CLAC.
There have been some middle schoolers who've been with us as well. We do 13 of them.
Okay. Excellent. So,
And they all get the cards.
oh, good.
Yeah.
Yes, we'd love, I mean, these are gonna look great on your college applications, so think about that.
They're gonna crush it.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's
yes.
all stuff that's
Very
in
nice.
Okay. Ellie?
Yeah, so this is the time of year that the district applies for what's known as the CRP, and it's the Consolidated Resource Plan, which is the grant that's handed out by the state, but it's actually federal dollars, if that makes sense. So it's federal dollars, goes down to the state level, and then the districts apply for those funds. And so the process requires, public participation. So I just wanted to make everyone aware of kind of what's in the grant and then what, if any suggestions. So the grant is made up of 2 sections, and it's made up of the IDEA Part B, which is really K to 12 plus. And it's also, there's a separate section for preschool. And so those 2 funding applications include data which is based on performance indicators. So for example, one of the performance indicators is the graduation rate. Another is the dropout rate. They take a look at districts and determine whether or not districts are disproportionate in identifying any one category. So if you had, according to like national standards, too many students eligible as say learning disabled, the district would be required to write an action plan around that. Like, what are you doing? It doesn't seem proportionate with the rest of the country, what your rates are, like what's happening. So they require you, to go in and analyze that
So if
data.
you're identifying students better than other districts, you get hurt for it.
So, no,
Oh, okay.
if you're not disproportionate, which Smithfield is not disproportionate. If we were, we'd have to write a plan to address it, and a percentage of our funds would have to go towards that kind of endeavor. So if we were identifying too many students as learning disabled, we might have to put funding towards a reading specialist or a math, whatever that category. If we had too many students identified as emotionally disturbed, maybe we would look at adding social work service or something like that.
Is like a representative helping? Because I know at the State House, they're trying to get those numbers and direct funds for, like, let's just say this district had a lot, like, and they would add more funds to be able to get that resource
Right,
specialist.
yeah, like,
Yeah, so there's talk. All of the funding and allocation is determined really by a state formula, and I really wish I could explain it to you, but it is so complicated and there are so many little pieces that go into it. I can't explain it.
yeah.
Part of it is, the number of teachers you have on staff, the amount of service time that you deliver to students, but then there are other categorical pieces that go into that funding formula.
So, sorry, not to
Yeah.
get, so say if you have our district or Johnson, whatever district has more students than neighboring districts, and that could be no fault of any, like, it's just
Yeah.
life. Do they provide you a grant to support staffing, or is this the state's like, you have too many, it's on you?
So if you're judged as disproportionate,
Yeah.
it's on you, like you have to fix that, you have to be really like within national norms or national
Which is
percentages.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
It is like tough.
I feel like, no,
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, Coventry right now, they've just had a drop, if you guys seen it on the news, they just had a drop in their special ed community. So they're gonna get less money because they're reporting, let's just say for round numbers, 50, and they're not growing. But if you guys have 50 and you jump to 100, maybe they moved from another district here. So I'm thinking it's more. Rep. Carson was the one who, at the State House, she had actually said that we want to provide the money where the kiddo is.
Mhm.
And if that means you have 10 extra kids and you need to file, you need more special ed teachers, you need more OT, they're gonna make sure that you have a budget for it. But
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what.
Yeah, that's definitely true with the funding level overall.
Okay.
So, the funding level, overall is, proportionate to what your population is. Along with those narratives that go along with the performance indicators, there's also a budget section, right? So they say, yep, this is your allocation. You can budget it really however you want. There are two categories that it's you have to budget for. So one is students in private schools within your community. So we have St. Philip's, and so what they do is they calculate a proportionate share, and we're required to provide that proportionate share of funds to the number of students at St. Philip's as of December 1st. And so if somebody from Johnston attends St. Philip's, we're providing services. If we don't have enough funds to provide all of the services that they would get through their IEP, they can go back to their home district for those services. If it's a Smithfield student who attends St. Philip's, we do provide service there, but they also have the option to come here and receive any additional services. So that money is set aside, and they tell us how much, that is. The second one would be if we were disproportionate, they would require us to set aside a percentage, to go towards that area. We're not disproportionate, so we don't have that at this time. When we look at, our graduation rate, so in the district, 95.24% of students with IEPs graduate, and the state average is 86, a little above 86%. So we are doing better than the state average. So we don't have to kind of write a narrative for that. If we were below, we would have to do that. Same thing for dropout rate. And this is where it gets tricky in Smithfield because we are small. So if you have like a cohort of 10 kids, if one dropped out, you're looking at percentage. So this data is great. We have a 0% dropout rate, but I already kind of know next year it's going to be greater than 0, but the state average is 7.93. So it's, when it's in that range. Other things are like time spent in the general ed classroom. That's an indicator. So they do look at that time. Again, we're above the state average. We're a little over 94% in the classroom, 80% or more of the time, and the state average is 72%. And they also look at out of district placement, so non-public schools, residential, hospitalization. And so we're at 3.2%, where the state is at 5%. So we're okay, in that area as well. And transition for students 18 plus. They require us a year post-graduation. They send us a list that's randomly pulled, and we need to contact those students and find out what they're doing. And if they're in school, join the military, have supported employment or employment on their own, that's what's known as they're meaningfully engaged. So they're engaged in their community. So we were able to reach 100% of our students, where the state average was 74, and 80% of those students were meaningfully engaged, as opposed to 76% in state average. So again, we were above where the state was. So that was great. Some things that we do have to write a narrative about, regardless of where we're performing, are areas to close that academic gap, right? So I have to analyze, RICAS scores, SAT, PSAT, alternative, assessment. And then I also, in addition to that, analyze some of our screening data so we know where kids are. And so that you have to look for trends and patterns. And so one obvious trend is our performance in mathematics. And so this year we kind of engaged with some specialized professional development geared toward special educators in the area of math. And so RIDE was really spearheading this PD. And so several teachers went, and the PD is actually continuing next year with a kind of a different presenter. But this year we had teachers of students who take the alternate assessment went and learned how kind of those essential elements and common core, the essential elements of the Common Core, how those are assessed and how to teach those. Recently, about 2 weeks ago, we had secondary teachers go and just learn kind of like best practices and modifications and supports for students with disabilities. And so that will continue. And then we're looking also at continuing our work with some supplemental intervention programs. So that's really where our focus is. The other piece that we started this year was what's called an MTSS district team. So the multi-tiered systems of support is supposed to be intervention that really ensures, one, that your core is strong. So what everybody gets is strong. And then what is your, intervention process? And previously, we've had those teams at each building. We've kind of audited those teams, taken a look at, what's happening in those teams. And again, the state offered some kind of advanced, training in that. And so we thought, we should establish a district team so that kind of is on the same page. And, in some cases, that support really prevents the identification and labeling of students with disabilities. And so we want to make sure, one, our core is strong. And that's, part of the reason we're adopting, highly rated, curriculums, but also make sure that our interventions are in place. So that, those things will go towards the academic side. The budget piece, ours hasn't increased, where our special education numbers have increased.
That's why air conditioning's off right now.
I know. So, the part B, K to 12 plus, that allocation was a little over $726,000. And so what, we have put that towards is pieces of positions. So like 0.3 of a psychologist, 0.4 of a social worker. There is, a resource teacher that's whole, there's an administrative assistant that's whole. But I can tell you there are right now 12 pieces of salary for 12 different positions. So that, the positions, along with the 22,000, that's, and it goes towards the private school, really isn't leaving us with any additional funds. I do put in money for printing of the, SELAC brochures.
Promise, guys, we make sure those are cheap.
Yes. I always put in 500 and
Right.
hope it comes at 250.
And the
But-
color, you supply all the color.
Yeah, so that's really, what's in there at this point. The preschool, section of it, we're allocated at 40,000. And so about 700 of that, goes to private schools and the rest is salary. There's a speech, part of a speech, like 0.12 of a speech pathologist, like 0.18 of a preschool teacher, like it's all different pieces of a salary. An important thing to know about the budget is one of the regulatory rules is that I cannot take something that was paid with local funds and then move it in the budget. So they require, if your local funded positions, we're required to do what's called maintenance of effort. We need to maintain that. So they don't allow you to what they call supplant and put things, in the grant. Another example of that is, let's say we bought new textbooks for math. I cannot put a portion of that in here to cover students with disabilities, because that is core, that is required, and that would be paid for, in the same way. So the only things that really go in the budget are things that are called like excess cost. And so what is the excess cost related to providing services to students with disabilities? I think we're pretty fortunate here in Smithfield that a lot of things have been in the local budget for a long time. And there are just, pieces of staff here, even though it's not as much as I would like. I'd love to put, some PD, in the CRP rather than local, but that's where we are.
There's a Autism Cares Act bill that I went to Washington DC for, and I can share it with the team. We are trying to fight for an increase of, I believe it's 14% up to 62% for IDEA funds. So that in turn would help all of us.
Yeah, I mean, the legend, so nationally, federally, IDEA is supposed to be funded at 40%. That's the law, that's the regulation. We're at 14%. It's never nationally gone above that.
For Rhode Island.
For everybody.
Everybody. Everybody,
So the whole country's supposed to be 40%?
yes.
So I can send information if any parent wants to submit online, be a part of this.
Mhm.
We've been, following it. We went to DC, we got Sheldon Whitehouse,
Yeah.
Rep Magazine, or I have pictures with them. But we went down and made sure that all these bills were top priority because we want special education not to be at the bottom of the list. Our kids deserve this. We get, how was it? Nobody is ever putting special needs, mental health at the top of the list, and these bills do.
Mhm.
So and home services as well is included in that. So, and I know it's been a rough year with, even before COVID, but COVID just made everything halt.
Yeah,
So,
it's definitely, the bills exist every year and there's always,
yeah, I'll send it right to you.
yeah.
And we can always have like our elected officials come that are doing the bills and present to you guys and let you know how you can get involved. I know a lot of the General Assembly reps, they like to be invited to things like this, and maybe a summer group, because this is their busiest time right now before the budget comes out. But, maybe over the summer or maybe August or something right before we kick off and, say, look, these are the things that we want to advocate for.
Yeah, and it's an election though, so it reminds me.
Yeah, everybody will talk right now.
So that's a CRP, and then the other thing, is really just trying to get ESY set up. It really is like running a totally different school in the summer. Everyone is individually scheduled and staffing, and so putting those pieces together, we have an orientation for ESY staff on June 3rd, hoping to have, tentative class lists so that they can touch base with current case managers, to find out any information.
The high school chain here, right? But everyone else is at Pleasant View, or is everybody going to Pleasant View?
So it's at Pleasant View. We're going to try to keep high school here, though they are gonna paint in that room, and there's a couple of other rooms on that wing. And so if it seems like it's not a safe place to be with fumes, then we probably will look at Pleasant View, which it worked last year, but I just know that a lot of their equipment and things that they use every day are here, and just the routine, is here, but certainly we can adapt and move if needed.
Any other questions? No. Anybody open forum? Anybody has anything they want to talk about?
Any questions or comments?
Comments, concerns, thoughts? Besides it being warm.
I think it's gonna be worse.
I had a jacket on for most of the day. It starts at the evening.
It's not so bad now.
No.
I did, and I was in the
I have that video, but I don't know if we wanna. You wanna do election first?
So this is a board election meeting as well. The terms for our positions are 2 years. And it's already been 2 years. So first, if anybody want one of the positions, is we can vote. No, nobody, all right. So we will then stay as what we are, for the next 2 years. When you get off school meeting.
Can I say something just quickly? So part of this project, with the Circles of Connection is we're trying to get a SELAC chair paid for their time in, working with the SELAC. Right now, they're $100 meetings. for an hour and $50 breakout groups. So that's my plan. If this goes well, over the summer, we have till September to supply some numbers. And if it goes well, we're hoping we can get funding for our parents. I mean, most of us, we can't work. So coming to a SELAC meeting and running it and, you know, getting paid for a little bit of your time.
As per sweet. Does anybody object to us staying in the position that we're in? All right, now it's time to party. Amanda made a video of recaps of the school
I
year.
don't know if we can see it because the thing doesn't work, but I
It's
can.
really cool. Sure.
Just since it has been 2 years, since the three of us have come together, I think we've changed a bit. Hold on.
That's what happened 2 years. I feel like people know what the election is at this point. They know our faces.
See if I can make this big.
If
You're not
nothing
gonna
else.
probably see it. I can put it over here. Put it over there maybe. I don't know if anyone wants to watch it. I know,